Well, thank you so much, Governor. I'm sure it's great to be home in Mankato, and it's good to be here with the Congressman as well. He's heading to Washington. I got up at 3 in the morning Minnesota time, and the Delta flight was on time, and got here to be with all of you today. Thank you to all of our electeds, Attorney General Ellison, the legislative leaders, commissioners, city council members, mayors, and of course Commissioner Lindsay, who's been such a great leader for our state, as well as the general. Thank you. I did want to thank you, Dr. Ward, and I loved how you described some of the work that our country has done in the past, but also it should be a guide for us in the future. Beth Richardson, thank you. She knows I lead the Canadian-American group in the Senate. I got to go visit with the new Prime Minister, Prime Minister Carney, this spring with Senator Kramer from North Dakota and a few others. He was great, but we did make kind of not really a monetary bet, but a bet on the women's pro hockey game in the finals where the Ottawa Charge and the Minnesota Frost faced off for the national champion. It's a new league. It's super fun. And I just want to, for your benefit, recite the chant of the Minnesota Frost, which is really kind of insightful for the weather we're about to see and did see this last week. Brr, brr, it's cold in here. There must be some frost in the atmosphere. That is their cheer, okay? It is lastly, but not really last, I want to acknowledge my in-laws, Bill and Marilyn Bessler, who live here in Mankato and came by after they found out we finished our voting last night. And I wanted to thank them for not just being the parents of my husband, but raising 6 boys in Mankato. They had 4 boys, kind of wanted a girl, and had identical twin boys. They lived in a single trailer home at the time, and Bill simply built an extra bunk bed, so the boys lived in triple bunk beds in their trailer home and are all doing really well, and I thank you for being such incredible parents. Veterans Day is personal for everyone here. For me, I always think about my dad, and he once wrote a book called The Heroes Among Us, about ordinary people doing extraordinary things, and I can't think of a better way to describe our vets. Like so many of you, those that stood on that front line, the stories we're hearing from World War II, through their sacrifice, built a future where liberty prevailed over tyranny, and we get to live in that future. One story I want to share today, and at the end I'll introduce his family who are here. One of those heroes was U.S. Army Captain Willibald Charles Bianchi, who fought valiantly in World War II. Listen to this story. He was born not too far from here in New Ulm, grew up on a small poultry farm. When his dad died in an accident, he left high school to take care of the farm and support his family. He went on to study at the University of Minnesota Farm School and South Dakota State, where classmates called him Medals. That's because he wore his ROTC uniform, partly because he could not afford clothing, but also because he was so proud. After he graduated in 1940, he was immediately commissioned as an Army officer, and he was deployed to the Philippines, where he served as a member of a unit called the Philippine Scouts. In February of 1942, he led a daring charge that cleared a line of Japanese machine gun nests. He suffered multiple wounds, but kept leading his men until he lost consciousness. His courage earned him the Congressional Medal of Honor. A few months later, he was captured and endured the 65-mile Bataan Death March. In captivity, he continued to help his fellow soldiers, trading with his captors to get food for the starving, and uplifted everyone's spirit. He made the ultimate sacrifice as a prisoner of war aboard a Japanese prisoner ship in 1945. He was only 29 years old. This August, more than 80 years later, his remains were finally identified. His story reminds us of a solemn promise that we bring every missing hero home, no matter how long it takes. So if the Bianchi family could please stand. They're out here somewhere, right there. Thank you for being here. The story reminds us that we can never fully repay what our veterans have given our nation, but we can honor their service now. That means giving them what they deserve. That means giving them the education when they get home, if they need that, making sure they have a roof over their head, making sure they have a job, and making sure they get the health care they need. And I am so proud that after years of work on this, because of Minnesota vets that approached me and other members of Congress, we were able to finally pass the Honoring Our Heroes Act. We were finally able to pass the bill to take care of our veterans' health care when they were exposed to burn pits. We must continue to fulfill those promises. And one other promise that we made, point of personal privilege, I had a editorial today in the Star Tribune with General Vodal, the former head of CENTCOM, and he and I talked about a bill that must pass. And I lead that bill with Senator Lindsey Graham. It's called the Afghan Adjustment Act. Because when we make promises to our soldiers, thank you, oftentimes we also make promises to those who serve with them. We also make promises to those who have hurt by war in places where we have led. You think about the World War II refugees and others that came to our country and have done so many great things. You think about those that came over after the Vietnam War, how they are ingrained in our community, the Hmong, the Lao, all of those that came and what they mean to Minnesota. Yet right now, we have within our own midst, in our own state, in our own country, Afghan interpreters, drivers, medics, engineers who risk everything, often at great personal expense to themselves and their families, to further America's mission. And they remain in limbo, facing uncertainties, not knowing if they're going to be sent back to the Taliban at every moment. In the past, we always gave them a path to citizenship, and that's what the fulfilling promises to Afghan allies does. We must keep our covenants with those that served with us. So, and I will note, as so many of our veterans know, it is strongly supported as a top priority of all of our veterans organizations, and we've got to remember that as we move forward into the next year. So to all our military veterans, service members, and military families, you represent the best of America. God bless you, God bless our veterans, and God bless, in a very difficult time, the United States of America. Thank you. Now, wait a minute, I am not done. I have the honor of introducing my colleague, Congressman Finstead. We achieved something that people kept looking at us and saying, what? Just at the end of last year, thanks to an incredible researcher in southern Minnesota, we realized that the American eagle was not actually our national bird. That's true. And we actually passed legislation that made the American eagle the national bird. We also have worked together. He's a member of the Armed Services Committee on the current National Defense Bill, which, as those that represent our military know, it's nearly done. It's passed the Senate and the House with strong votes. We just have to work a few things out. Both strongly support that bill. We're working on a Mankato Vet Center here, and I thank him for his friendship and his work. I give to you Congressman Finstead.